All right, so new cards are upon us in Legends of Runterra, which is always like the most exciting time in a card game where you get new cards, new brewing, all the fun stuff. But I've been getting a lot of hate for my excitement of one of the new landmarks, the Monastery of Hirana, and a lot of people are telling me that it's a trash card, it'll never see play, and that my opinions are just downright wrong for liking it, which is always one of my favorite takes. So I wanted to do a video here explaining why I'm excited for this card, why I think it's cool, and going into my thought process and showing you my amazing deck that I'm building with this, so you can see the full true potential of the new Monastery of Hirana. So let's take a look at the card itself, explain how it works, what it does, and all of that. So, Monastery of Hirana, which I'm sure I'm not saying correctly, but whatever, that's what I'm going with. It is a 3-mana landmark. It is epic quality or purple, whatever. It says at round start, you create a sanctuary in hand. And what is a sanctuary, you might ask? It is a 1-mana burst fleeting spell that recalls an ally, and it works like a gem where you can't cast it in combat or in response to a spell. So some things about this and why it's pretty cool is it happens at the start of every round, not just your turn or when you have the attack token. So you can do it on your opponent's turns, you can do it on your turn. Every time a round starts, you get to create one of these 1-mana burst spells, and you get to use its effect. Now the Sanctuary, what's very important to look at it is a burst spell. So if you do have an ally that you're trying to recall and you're not in combat or they're trying to kill it, you're guaranteed to get it back. So I think when people see this landmark, or at least like a lot of people have been telling me when they see this, for whatever reason, because it's in Ionia, everyone starts thinking Yasuo, especially because Yasuo synergizes with recalling cards. That is obviously not the first thing or anything that I'm thinking about, because why would I play a Yasuo deck? The answer is I wouldn't. So I'm not thinking of things that are trying to synergize with Yasuo type effects that need you to recall things, or the don't let the fluffy tails fool you card. I'm not thinking about stuff like that. Here's the reason that I like this card, is that it synergizes really well with powerful summon and a play effects on followers that have a lot of power to them. Some of my favorite decks that I've played utilize a lot of summon effects or enter the battlefield effects, which is the magic term, from powerful followers such as like the Avarosian Hearthguard. Like I've used Callista to bring multiple copies of those back, which is really fun. Or more recently, the Cadragon deck, the K-pop Dragons deck, where you're trying to play multiple Cadragons to get its super powerful effect. Or things like the Shipwreck Hoarder deck, the treasure combos, where you play as many Shipwreck Hoarders as you can to fill your deck with treasures. Basically, any of these followers that you're wanting to play multiple copies of, a card like this generates your Sanctuary every turn, where you could potentially play that same card over and over and over for lots and lots of value. Iced coffee was a good choice. Being able to have a card that just sits around and generates this value infinitely without you having to draw cards from your deck to make it work, I think is actually a really powerful, and it's a really unique effect. This could potentially be one of those cards where even at the onset, if it's not super powerful, doesn't see a home right away. Later down the road, there could be a card that synergizes with it that could see some really degenerate value. But all that aside, I want to talk about the reason that I specifically am super excited about this, and it's for a deck idea that I am theory crafting and is going to be absolutely amazing. Now, this wouldn't be a saucy mailman video without talking about, you guessed it, puff caps. So, of course, the first thing I always think about with any new card is, does this synergize with Teemo? Because that's the right thing to think, I'm pretty sure. And the deck that I want to propose to you is this new Ionia, Piltover, and Zon puff cap, or like turbo puff cap deck. So a lot of the really good puff cap synergy cards are summon effects. Things like your Chump of Wumps, your Clump of Wumps, stuff like that. When you're playing those units out, you're getting the extra puff cap cards to your hand, which is really good. So if you get to play a Chump multiple times, you're just getting so much value. Also, this is a burst spell that it makes, or it's a 1-mana spell, which synergizes really well with Puffcap Peddler. So we're playing a lot of spells, putting Puffcaps in their deck, doing all the things we want to do, and it's amazing. And all of that is all well and good and fun and you know, a cool thing to do, but here's the piece of the puzzle that puts it all together. I don't know if that made sense. This is the piece of the puzzle. I don't know. Anyways, this is the card that glues it all together, and that is the Veteran Investigator. The synergy with the Monastery of Hirana and Veteran Investigator are why I think this deck is going to be absolutely amazing. So your Veteran Investigator is a 2-mana follower, 3/2 body, and when it comes into play, it draws both players a card. Now, this is good for us because we're going to get a lot of cards, we're going to keep our hand full, we're going to have stuff to play, but it's really good when our opponent's deck is full of a whole lot of Puffcaps and we're making them draw a bunch of cards. Also, when you're able to play the same Investigator multiple times and fill your opponent's hand up, that causes them to burn cards. And that's another really fun thing to do. Fun. I've always said way back in the closed beta that as soon as we had a way to make our opponent draw cards, that Teemo decks or Puffcap decks would be a lot more legitimate or viable, and this could be like something that actually causes that dream to become a reality. Now, also, being that we're in Ionia, we get to play things like Nopify or Deny if we want, and all the splattering myriad of other recall effects if we want to just be able to play the same Veteran Investigator 2, 3, 4 times a turn. We may be able to do that with a card like this. You can put in things like your Eye of the Dragon to give you some sustain, burn from P and Z, and suddenly we might have something where we could have this like turbo Puffcap mill style deck without even a whole lot of pieces necessary. Once you get 1 Monastery and 1 Investigator, that's going to allow you to start drawing through your deck like crazy. This has been a concept that I've been very excited for. I talked about it on my podcast, Runeterra Radio, briefly, and it's the reason that a card like this makes me excited. I feel like there's a lot of brewing potential and a lot of creative things that we could do with this card itself. I feel like people are way too quick to write off cards for X reason or Y reason. I think when people look at new cards, they try to think of like, why is this card bad or why won't this card work versus how could I make this card work? And I find that thinking the latter, being able to think of how could I actually make this card work, is how you like open yourself up to a lot of creative deck building, and that's when a lot of the most fun decks that you'll play come to fruition. But yeah, that's my concept. That's why I'm excited for this card. I think it's gonna be very fun, at least fun for me. It might not be fun for you if I'm making you draw your cards, but fun for me. That's all I had. That's all I wanted to talk to you about this in this video. I also want to know, what are the cards you are the most excited for? What cards do you think are going to be fun, good, bad? What are you not excited for? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm crazy for this idea. If you still think that the Monastery is garbage, it's okay. I can take it. I know when you're wrong. It's fine. I don't mind. But I'd love to hear about it. Honestly, leave a comment. Let me know. And also, I stream on Twitch every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Come hang out. We're going to be brewing with all these new cards. We're on the horizon of new stuff. It might already be out by the time you're watching this. So come hang out while we brew new nonsense stuff. But that's all I got for you. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for watching this. And until next time, you stay saucy.
Nothing like the great outdoors.
Teemo's for the LOR connoisseurs. Chef's kiss.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Do it again. Deny. Okay, that's fine. That's a deny that's not killing this.
Conflict is all in the mind.
Hello. More for my collection.
There they go.
No, stop.
More mushrooms.
204 puff caps. I've never been so happy in my life.
And here's where I constellation.
Draw those cards. That's awesome. Imagine drawing cards there. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell notification, and help me destroy the YouTube algorithm overlords by leaving a comment and liking this video. I appreciate you very much. You're amazing, and until next time, you stay saucy.